Texas A&M, Texas. 13 years these fan bases have had to wait. It's an in-state rivalry. We've got a lot of them. We've got a lot of great rivalries this week. But talk about the importance, Mensch, of the outcome of this game. Texas A&M, what a terrible tape they put out there against Auburn Saturday night. Did not expect to see that. Vegas did, but I didn't.
Yeah.
FanDuel did. They warned us. The odds were close, but I didn't see it playing out that way. Texas A&M has been battling all season long. Better coached team. Elko has done a tremendous job. All that talent that they recruited, they're starting to play together as a team. And to go out and put that tape out there, it was hard to watch. Now, give them credit, right? Give them credit in that they were down 21-0 in that game and battled back. And also keep perspective. Not everything's lost here. And it's so easy to walk away from those 3 SEC losses the other day, right? Ole Miss, Alabama, A&M. And it's like the recency bias on it and the third loss in some, A&M season it's still salvageable, and a win over number 2 or number 3 Texas, whatever the ranking is,
that'll help the resume
hugely. And with all those other teams losing, and with Indiana losing ugly to Ohio State, there's still a lot in front of them, and it wouldn't even matter if there wasn't, even if it was just a spoiler roll. I promise you, it wouldn't matter. And it's not even about, I don't want to go into deep dive. It's not even about like the history and tradition of this rivalry. We're in the NIL era of college football, transfer portal. Unfortunately, it's not about that. It's not about Pappy and Grandpappy and where they played and who they've been rooting for. It's just not, right?
Right. No, it's not.
But study the rosters. It's still vast majority of young men from Texas that played high school ball in Texas. They know each other. They played each other. They played with each other. So that's what makes this a heated rivalry. And then you throw in the fact that Texas is trying to sustain its spot, right? And Texas A&M is trying to get in the dance. And now we got something special. Kyle Field, Saturday night. So, you know what? I've got a few things on my mind. Take me somewhere here, Mitch. You kick things off.
Well, the one in the trenches, the thing I'm most fascinated by is this Texas offensive line versus the Texas A&M defensive front. I think there's talent everywhere. I think that the Texas offensive tackles are the best offensive tackle tandem in the country. When I put them on tape and I was watching tape and prep for this conversation, I loved that Texas offensive line. And people are going to point to the Georgia game and they did not have their best night. I think this unit is ready for another big test, which they will get in Texas A&M. Make no mistake about it. But the right tackle, Cameron Williams, is awesome. And Kelvin Banks Jr. at left tackle is awesome. And the 3 interior guys are pretty damn good on their own. And you're going to go against Nick Scoreton's coming in. You're going to play against Nick Scoreton, the Shamars. It's going to be a battle up front. And as someone who enjoys that kind of a thing, that's what I'm most excited to watch.
Here's what's interesting to me, and I love that match. That just got me fired up because this legitimately is, you could argue, the best offensive line in the country. It's legitimately one of the best defensive fronts in the country. We've talked about Ole Miss, and they're probably going to have the most early draft picks. We've talked about there's several different. We talked about the defensive tackles for Michigan. We've talked about 4 guys, at least 3 that absolutely will get drafted in the first 2 days of the draft from Ohio State. So there's a lot of good D lines out there. A&M's is one of them. Okay.
Right.
And I'm talking in the elite tier, probably 5 or 6 that you can argue, but A&M is up there. And so to hear you, and I've always liked them, but I've deferred to you sometimes because you're cynical Steve and you're like angry defensive lineman and there's always something wrong and they're like but a bunch of but to hear you praise is really encouraging. Okay, so that matchup is like that's the nuts and bolts of this thing. Of course, I'm going to now go to the finesse cute stuff,
right,
and ruin the whole vibe. Quinn Ewers' ankle is concerning, man.
He doesn't look right, does he?
Well, he didn't get pulled in that game. Okay, last week he didn't get pulled in that game. It was the final game, home game, DKR, right? And now if they have a home playoff game, but it's final scheduled home game, right? And so I don't know if that factored into it, but I think he was healthy enough to go back out there in the second half and play after getting nicked up on a run. I don't think it was even his carry when he got injured, but he got injured to his ankle, was limited mobility wise, very clear. I went back and studied the tape, very clear. And Steve Sarkisian, the head coach of Texas, kept him out there for whatever the reasons were. Quite honestly, and I don't know this, but yeah, it's his final scheduled home game, right? For a phenomenal career, what he's done, the position he's put Texas to help put Texas in, but also your backup's a Manning. And we already went through that, and Quinn already missed a couple games because of injury, and we already heard all the noise with that. And so if now going into this huge renewed rivalry game against A&M, and you throw Manning in there, Arch in there, and if they have fireworks in the second half, and again, it's not because Sark's never going to put his team in jeopardy of anything. But I do think that they wanted to gut it out with Quinn in the second half, and very clearly by the play call. I don't have the numbers exactly in front of me. It doesn't matter. It was, I don't know how many times he threw the ball in the second half, like 7 times or something. So it was all running the football in the second half, and they were going to grind it out. He gets the MRI done, precautionary MRI, and the doctor came out, I guess, and the report was that it's good news. He's fine to play. But if he's not 100% and it doesn't, and again, he's not a running quarterback, but he's mobile inside the pocket and he can tuck the ball and pick up first down. If he's not 100%, you're going against that defensive line. I don't care how good your offensive line is. And you got Arch on the sideline. He's got some game experience. He's got he's taken some bullets already, and he's got mobility. I just wonder going into this game, are we going to see Arch? But I'm not Skip Bayless. Like, I'm not Stephen A. Smith. I'm not here just throwing shit against the wall. No. Just to throw it. Like, it's a legitimate concern, and it's one that Sark's dealing with this week internally behind closed doors. Send out the report. Quinn's fine. MRI is great. Good to go. But I'm certain that they're working through, okay, so what happens if? And I'm not saying that he's going to re-injure and not be able to play. I'm saying what happens if he's not as effective as he needs to be against this really good defensive front.
Tell me if you see the same thing. I don't want to be an apologist or make excuses for maybe some of the Quinn Ewers struggles or weaknesses in his game. I think he's been banged up for most of the year.
I agree.
And the reason I think that is because I don't see the same kind of velocity on his downfield passes as I've seen in the past.
I agree.
Ball's hanging a little. It's getting there a little later. And why is that? I mean, that's especially a big deal this week because we just saw. Now, Cam Coleman's a different dude out of Auburn. I mean, that dude's going to be fun to watch, that wide receiver.
Yes.
But we just saw this A&M defense get
those Auburn receivers went off.
Torched. So do you have a guy that can get
Coleman
the ball
and then
downfield?
the other guy had over 100. They had like 230 between them, the top 2 receivers for Auburn.
So do you have a guy that can,
these A&M corners are on notice in this game?
Yeah, it wasn't good, man. And it was a number of issues. It's like, well, what happened when you go back and you look at it? Well, one of it, there was a blown coverage. There was guys getting beat one-on-one, and it was a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So do you have a guy that can get the ball downfield? And you usually do in Ewers. No problem usually. I'm not seeing the same kind of arm talent from him that I've seen in the past, and that's a little bit of a concern because that's if I'm watching that A&M tape, I'm like, we want to test these corners early and often, and they have the talent at receiver to do it. So that's
Quinn's
something to keep an eye on.
Quinn's best tape this year was Michigan, right?
Yep, early on.
I thought, yeah, but maybe the entire season. I'm saying,
yeah, no, I think it's the best, but it's also early on in the season. What I'm saying, I think he's been banged up.
But that was before the injury. Is my point.
Yeah.
And in that game, what made him so what had us talking after that game? and I distinctly remember you and I talking about that tape that we studied. There was a different kind of suddenness to him, an ability, like rushers coming on late, whether he's sidestepping, climbing. There was a little bit more creativity to his game. It wasn't just, as David Pollack said on our very first podcast, it wasn't him at the driving range hitting beautiful towering shots.
I love that comparison, or that whatever you call it.
So do I, and it stuck with me. And because when things are right, he's got that ball that takes off, and it's got that second rise to it, like an airplane with the jets. I haven't seen that version since.
No.
And now you throw an ankle into it.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, because I think with that offensive line, even if they play a great game, there's going to be some moments where he has to sidestep the rush. Rush is coming from the outside. He's got to climb the pocket. And he's got to do it with, it's an extreme example, but Aaron Rodgers with and Aaron Rodgers without mobility, two different human beings, right?
Correct.
And for 15 years or whatever it was, we saw him with. And we're talking about the best quarterback, a lot of people saying ever to play the game, or top 3 ever to play the game, right? And now we see him without. He's still got a great arm. He's still got he can still make some amazing throws, but when you take that element away. So I don't know. It's something that's concerning. I do think I've learned this in college football, and I've learned it the hard way, and I've learned it over time. If you think you're getting that A&M team from the Plains Saturday night against Texas on Saturday, you're dead wrong. Home game, Kyle Field, rivalry, played against these guys, played with these guys, an absolute disdain for the opponent. It's going to be, I will be shocked if it's not A&M's best or top 3 performances all year long. And we've been saying for a long time, I can't wait. I've been saying since Quinn came back, I want to see, we're going to get to a point when Sark's going to have to open this thing up, and they're going to have to go full go. We've seen moments of it, flashes here and there, but not a full, I love watching Sark, the game plan for the big game, like the Alabama game, seeing what his game plan is coming in, the variety, mix in some special, misdirection, the motions pre-snap. When Sark gets going and he gets in his bag, it is, for people who love offensive football, it is fun to watch. So this is going to be it. It's going to be it.
Right.
But is Quinn up to the challenge? That's going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah. It's hard. It's a hard thing to speculate about or see coming, whether or not they're going to have to make a change there, but it'll be interesting. They are uniquely, I will say, one of the teams that's in playoff contention that if you have that, the backup they're in a good position. How quick do you make the move? If they go down, if they go in there and they're in trouble early and the crowd's going crazy, how quick is the hook?
Well, how quick was it against Georgia?
Second quarter?
Yep.
Yeah. But they had the plan to put him back in.
I'm not I hope Quinn has the best game of his career. Yeah. I hope every player, I'm just saying it's something to keep an eye on. I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole where everyone's like, well, Quinn Ewers, he's not right. It's not what we're saying. I'm just saying from a game planning standpoint, it's fascinating, because if it was another team, it's like, we got to ride with Quinn no matter what. But it's not. That's your point exactly. You've got a very capable quarterback who brings a different element with the run game. He's not going to make the same decisions yet that Quinn's making. He's not like the efficient passer that Quinn is yet. And we would like to believe he will be. Certainly, I think from a processing standpoint, he'll get to where Quinn is and maybe beyond. But you've got a very capable backup there. The other side of the ball is fascinating too. You got Marcel Reed, you've got the mobility. He was forced to, more of a passer the other night. Again, give him credit. They were down.
I think he's getting better. He's just,
I do too.
Watching that game, I thought, Elko is a tremendous coach. I do wonder if there's a part of him when he goes home at night and he's got that drive home from the office, if he wonders to himself, I should have made that change earlier on in the season. Dude. And maybe Marcel Reed's a little more developed. Because look, this kid Noah Thomas.
I was just going to say 5 for 124, 2 touchdows.
It's like 6'6". He looks like an NBA power forward. That connection is very intriguing to me. And I do wonder if Elko thinks to himself, man, maybe I should have made that change a little bit earlier. Maybe Marcel's a little more developed as a passer, because I think he's making strides. He made some throws in that game the other night where I was like, wow. I mean, the one touchdown of Thomas, he threw into a real tight window, rhythm, timing, all of it was great. He's just not there yet because he's young. He's got to develop a little bit, and it takes, like we've said several times on this pod, if you're a quarterback, you need to play, man. You're only going to get better if you play, and I think Marcel Reed's going to get better. I don't know if he's there yet. We'll see. Maybe he has the game of his life as a thrower against Texas. I will say one thing that scared me, Todd, is I love this Texas defense, but I am now in the resume mode of the season, and I want to know, the numbers look great. I mean, they're the third best scoring defense in the country. Only Notre Dame and Ohio State are better. Numbers are great. Tape is great. Jahdae Barron, who we've talked about the corner.
So if the tape is great and the numbers are great, then what else is there?
Colorado State offense, 100th in the country in scoring. Michigan offense, 107 in the country. Louisiana Monroe, 117. Oklahoma, 92. Kentucky, 113. There's some guys in the 70s. The best team they played was Georgia, and Georgia hung 30 on them. The best team outside of that is UTSA, who's 31 in the country, and they're not playing the same kind of schedule, man. So I look at that and I'm like, oh, I think
cynical Steve would
listen.
Resurface. You're right.
That's where I'm at.
You're right.
I look at some of those offenses they played against, and I'm like, oh man, these are not great offenses. There's no, gangbusters or a rocket of offense that they've gone against that have really, so this is going to be, and again, I don't know if Texas A&M is that team either. I don't think they're the same since they lost Le'Veon Moss to the knee injury. The running game's not the same when they lost the running back. So to me, this might not be the one that really tests them, but those numbers started to jump out to me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about stopping the run for Texas in this game.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, they're going to need a huge game out of Alfred Collins, who's been huge all season long, especially in the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's been sensational.
Right.
If they can jump them early, I think Texas, that defense, like the pass rushers, Anthony Hill Jr., Colin Simmons, the kind of edge guys, 14 and a half sacks between them.
Yeah, I like them.
Baron Sorrell, he's another good player, 4.5 sacks. So they've got dudes everywhere. They do, but can they line up and for 4 quarters? Like, they're gonna have a plan. A&M's gonna have a plan. They're gonna be creative. It's just, I think this game would scare me because I think you study the tape from last week against Auburn and you think you're getting one thing and you're definitely getting something different. And I'm excited to say, I think this is going to be a battle. I think it's going to be a 4-quarter battle.
Right. We can throw I'll tell you another thing. Texas, great at turning the ball over. I think they have 17 interceptions this year. Barron's got 4. The kid, Andrew Makuba from Clemson, the safety, who's really good.
Yep.
He's got another 4. Their kid, number 25, I can't remember his name. The pick he had last week was insane. Highlight reel insane. They turned the ball over.
Is it?
No.
I didn't
read through. It's I could find it if you want, but Reed's thrown 1. It's Jalen McDonald. Okay. Reed's thrown 1 in each of the last 3 games. I would not be surprised. I think Texas A&M has to win the turnover battle. I think they have to take care of the ball, but that's going to be tough against that Texas defense.
Let's look at the odds here. To me, 5.5 coming off that game. I think they're. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think that is giving a lot of respect to Texas.
Really?
Yeah. I don't.
I love that.
This is big bad Texas. They've been up there in the top, 5 all year long. Like, they had the one Georgia game, but other than that, I think it's the right line. I think FanDuel's all over it per usual, and I'm sure they'll be thrilled to hear that. But I think it's reasonable. But I also think I always look at it like this: what is FanDuel asking me to do? they're asking me here, they're begging me here to pound Texas. Oh yeah, they'll win. That's Texas. They're going to win by. They're going to come out and play the best game of their year. They're going to win by easy a touchdown, right?
Right.
That's why I think A&M's a live dog here. I truly do. I think this game's going to be outside of Georgia. This is by far the best test that they're going to get.
Yeah.
All right,
another Florida game. Go ahead. That Florida win for Texas looks good. I think we've been kind of this Texas team. We've kind of questioned a lot about them. And you think about that Florida win when they won 49-17. They've had some tight ones, and Ewers has been banged up a little bit. I think we've looked at the Ewers and maybe been too critical of Texas, the team, because Quinn Ewers hasn't played quite up to expectations as we thought. I like Texas in this game.
Okay, mark it down, folks. Mensch likes Texas's offensive line and likes Texas in this game.
Just keep in mind, I also like Tennessee against Georgia.
Yeah, I'm not calling you a sucker yet. We'll get to some other games maybe, but